Okay, I hope now you're well on your way of building your first CRUD application. Hopefully you went ahead and you followed the instructions and followed the order, and you already have completed the assignments to add in your project and also to update in your project. The final thing we need to learn then to actually complete our CRUD application is the delete. Okay, and so we need to talk about that. Once again, once we're finished with all of this, it's a great start. And if you understand it all, you got a lot of it down. I mean, a lot of it down. We will talk about in future weeks some little scenarios here and there and how to handle them, some different situations and so on that I want to talk about and help you out with. But so there's more to learn. But for the most part, to develop once again, a CRUD application. Uh, and if you understand how to do everything we've done so far, you are now where you need to be in regards to development. I mean, and so it doesn't get much harder than this. Okay. So with all that said, the next thing we want to do is get into delete students. What do I mean by that? So if I come on delete student here, you'll see that I have my students here. Okay. And so delete's an interesting piece. Whoops, I lost it here. Delete's an interesting one because once again, there's a finality to it, correct? So if I delete a student, okay, such as we'll delete Long Kim, and if I delete the student, we're going to go ahead and say, are you sure you want to delete Long Kim? With a message box, I'll show you how to do this kind of message box also when we get into this, and say, yes, Long Kim is now gone. Poor Lon. Okay, and if we come back to my display students, once again, you will not see him there. Okay, um, with that said, there's a finality to it. Sometimes we don't want to delete. And when I say delete, permanently delete somebody, usually what we do is make them inactive or make a thing inactive. That way we could always bring it back, especially if it has history. Okay, sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. It really comes down to the requirements of what you're being asked to do for your projects. Okay, so sometimes we'll create, many times what I've done before is I've created an active, inactive type of column in my tables for different pieces. And instead of deleting, I'll make them either active or inactive. Maybe I'd say yes or no, or A or I, or something like that. And then I'll do my queries around show me everybody who's active, okay? Show me everybody who's inactive. Some places actually take their inactive and archive it and actually get it out of the database and archive it into a copy of a database. So if they need to bring them back, they can very easily just do, a query against an archive database and then insert it back into the real database. A lot of different ways of doing it. What we're going to focus on is the actual delete here, okay? And you saw what just happened in doing so, okay? Um, so how do we do this? So deleting, once again, as you recall from IT 111, is not the easiest thing to do in the world. We have some issues in some cases. What do we mean by that? Well, if I go back to my delete students here and I go to Jose, okay, and I try to delete Jose, and I say, yeah, let's get rid of Jose also. I got this statement that you probably remember from IT 111 that says you can't delete Jose. There is a conflict. There's a conflicted with the reference constraint. What does that mean? What does that mean? Everybody have any ideas? It says it conflicts with a constraint T student courses, the foreign key. The conflict occurs in a database at T student courses, column student ID. Anybody have any idea what that means? That means that Jose took courses. So thus, there's a foreign key sitting out there. And because we have referential integrity in our databases, we need to ensure that you just can't delete the primary key without deleting the foreign keys, correct? So what do we do with that? All right. So the first thing we need to do is make sure our database is set up correctly. And so if we go back over and we look at our database here, basically what we did was we set up students and so on, and we created the referential integrity right here with our alter statements, all right, when we altered our tables with our new constraint, our foreign key constraint, right? And the fact that Jose, let's look at Jose right here, number 3, he took a class, he took a couple classes. So that means he has a foreign key sitting there. So if we actually deleted Jose, okay, these little records right here will become orphaned records. Everybody recall that? A little refresher there. And so we got to do one of two things here to fix this. If we delete, we're going to have to delete these records first, these rows first, okay, from T student courses, right? Or another way, there's another quicker way that I will also demonstrate. Let's go ahead and play around with this database a little bit in this case here. So if I sit back and I say delete, if I can spell it, not doing very well, delete from T students, and there you go right there, where int student ID equals, and let's go, what was Jose again? Jose was number 3. And if I run this, I'm going to get that same error message I just got in my application. Interesting, isn't it? Okay. So what do I do with this? Again, there's two things we can do. We can sit back and do this first, delete from T student courses. Okay. Where up? Come here. Come on. There we go. Where int student ID equals 3. So if I ran this first and then ran this second, right, and did this, if I'm correct, everything's going to work successfully because I deleted the foreign keys first out of here and then the primary key. So that means in my code I would have to do the exact same thing. All right, let's go ahead and get this guy reinstalled here. I'm going to rerun this for us. Okay, and Control R. So now we got Jose back in my database. All right, and let's get back and we'll do these. And let's see what we do in this case. Once again, if I try to delete Jose, I'm going to run into that issue. Again, remember, I just put Jose back into the database when I reran the whole scripts. Another way of doing this is coming up to the actual constraints and putting on here on delete cascade. So what this is saying is that if you do delete the primary key, as part of your deleting process, delete all the foreign keys too. Pretty scary thing to do. So you want to make sure you know what you're doing in this case. But if you add this clause to your foreign key constraint, this will delete all the orphans that may be sitting out there. Okay? So let's watch this work. I'm going to go ahead and cut this for a second, rerun my database and add that constraint. There you go. And now when I come down here, I'm going to run this just by itself and delete just Jose, and you can see it works. And not so in this case, what actually happened in my database is I deleted Jose from the T students table, and Jose's T student courses were also deleted because of the on cascade delete. So there's two different ways of handling this. You as a programmer should be aware of. Make sense? Okay. So what we'll do is we'll keep on delete cascade sitting there, and we'll go back to our hold on here. Here we go. We'll go back to our program here. Here we go. Got a lot of things up. All right. And let's go see then how this is actually done. All right. Excuse me. So once again, as you can see, what I basically did here, don't like that. Pick that out. Here we go. We connected to our database as normal. I did this on my load, okay, and so I'm loading that combo box just like we did before for the update. So there's nothing new here. Basically, cut and paste to load the combo box for us. Based upon me selecting oh, I'm sorry, yeah. So based upon me selecting something and pressing the delete button, okay, so that's how I did this with my delete. I'm going to select something here. I'm not doing anything with that the index changed event. I don't have one of those in this particular case. You had to pick somebody and then press the delete button. Pressing the delete button, we went ahead and did all our stuff in regards to, our declarations of our command lines and our so on, okay, and then our data tables and those type of pieces, okay. We went ahead and connected to our database. Same old, same old. Now look here real fast, okay? I'm going to ask before deleting. Are you sure you want to delete? And you see what I did is I took the CBO, I concatenated in my string the text from the combo box, whatever the name was, I kind of put it in there. But look how this particular message box works. The first parameter in a message box is the message. The second is what's on the top of the box, confirm deletion. I'll show you that here in a second. The third is your optional buttons. If you don't put anything in there, the defaults show up. But in this case, I have yes, no, cancel. There's quite a few combination of buttons that you can actually use in this case. And so if I sit back and put dot there, you will see it's okay, okay, cancel, retry, cancel, yes, no, cancel. I was using yes, no, cancel, okay? And then I have this message box icon. That's a little pretty little icon, the question and so on. There's quite a few of them that you can have to dress up your message box. There's a hand, there's a question, there's a stop, and so on. Which one was I using before? I don't know. I think it was question. I'll put that back in there. Okay. And so if you put all those in there, it dresses it up. And basically whatever the user then clicks on comes back to this result on the left-hand side of the equal sign. And then I can basically do a select case to see what the result is. And so what I would do is I do select case on the result. And if the dialog result dot cancel, if that's what the result was, okay, dialog result is part of the message box. That's what you would type in, dot cancel. I'm going to actions on a cancel. If it's no, I'm going to cancel. If it's yes, I'm going to delete from T students where student ID equals my select value. Again, this will be a execute on query, okay, and go from there, okay? I'm not sure why I have this in here twice. I will take it out for you. And this is how the whole thing works. Isn't that beautiful? And basically, if everything's successful, meaning we deleted some rows, it would say delete successful. Close my connections. So basically, delete from T students where the student ID equals the selected value from my combo box. Everything that some of the things we kind of done before. So take a look at this message box, play around with this a little bit. You can cut and paste mine, play around with the different values that you can actually utilize in the buttons and the icon. And it's something you may want to use here and there. It's a nice way of getting an answer back. It's a nice way of throwing a question out to the user, not just on a delete, it could be used in many different situations, and being able to get an answer back without creating a brand new form to do so, especially if you need a yes no answer from the user. Okay? And that is how you do that. So one more time, let's go out here and we'll watch this work. And in this case, we'll delete the students. And now we'll go back to Jose's gone because I fixed everything. We'll go to Sally Smith, delete it. Are you sure? If I said no, we're going to cancel the action. Nothing happened. Sally's still with us, okay? But if I go here and delete the students and I say, yep, delete is successful, poor Sally is now gone. All right? So there you go. That's how you do a delete. I want you to try it. And once you're done, congratulations. You're now a good junior beginning CRUD programmer.